from Trinidad, where I spent my vacation. And it turned out that it's the Independence celebration right now in Trinidad. It's the land of the hummingbird and the steelhead. And I sure would like all of you to experience that one day when you're able, because it's just a grand celebration, a lot of eating, and a lot of people at the dinner table is having a really grand time. So today I want to turn our attention to the Gospel of Luke, Luke chapter 14. When you give a luncheon or a dinner, do not invite your friends or your brothers or your relatives or rich neighbors, in case they may invite you in return, and you would be repaid. But when you give a banquet, invite the poor, the crippled, the lame, and the blind, and you will be blessed, because they cannot repay you, but you will be repaid in the resurrection of the righteous. In the name of our life-giving and loving God. Amen. So, when I think of this parable, I often think of the movie with Sidney Poitier. Some of you younger folks probably don't know, he's maybe in his 90s now. And the movie was entitled, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner? But in this case, I really reflected, and I think I want to title it, Guess Who Should Be Coming to Dinner? So when it comes to the dinner parties, Jesus is no Miss Manners. But it is not because he did not get enough practice. You see, Jesus and the disciples, throughout the entire New Testament of the Gospel, you would just see them eating their way through it. They go from place to place, house to house, one meal after another, always looking for the next invitation. Most of us sitting in these pews this morning cannot imagine not knowing where we will eat our next meal. But even at that, it is surprising that Jesus would eat at a Pharisee's house. You see, my brothers and sisters, the Pharisees, they criticized Jesus for blasphemy, because he forgave sins, for uncleanness, because he ate with sinners, and for working for the Sabbath, on the Sabbath, because his disciples plucked grain from a field. And so as the dinner party begins, the Pharisees are watching Jesus very closely. I suspect if we put ourselves in Jesus' place, we would be on our best behavior. We'd be careful not to talk with food in our mouths and put our elbows on the table. A dinner at a wealthy Pharisee's house would be pretty fancy. It was designed to impress. And most of the time it probably had the most proper place settings, all the forks and knives and everything in place. You know the rules, those of you who have strict dinner rules. It will probably go something like this. RSVP within a reasonable amount of time, bring a suitable gift. Do not unfold your napkin until your host does. Use your napkin only gently to block your mouth, your lips when needed. Use your utensils from the outside in. Do not push a plate away when you are finished. Place your knife and fork at 10 and 4 angles to indicate that you're done. Once you have used a piece of silverware, never put it back on the tablecloth. Do not leave a used spoon in a cup. Put it on the saucer. Never lay a napkin on the table until the dinner is over. The host signals the end of the meal by placing his or her napkin on the table. And do not refold it or ball it up. Now, does this sound familiar to many of you? Well, if not kids, you'll learn a lesson today in this matter. As we might picture it, the table is just magnificent. Think of this ancient context. The chandeliers, the lights are just shining. The servants, they're all attentive. And the centerpiece is just impressive. And all the champagne has been chilled. And most of all, most important, all of the right people are there. There are bankers, and there are doctors, and lawyers, and preachers. Jesus is invited, not because he's considered an equal, and because he is a curiosity who has been in the news. The esteemed guests are watching closely to see how Jesus fits in. They're watching him like he's in a fish tank. The table talk is polite as expected, centering on the new director of the symphony and the state of the economy. Now Jesus now decides to offend the guest. This scene, this ancient context, it becomes a lesson to how to lose friends and alienate people. Jesus has noticed how the Pharisees look for ways to move from the social up the social ladder to all about status and power and esteem, or up the table on this occasion. Jesus has seen how they try to sit at the places of honor. You remember James and John who asked Jesus to want to be right next to him and others. We have been in these awkward situations when we are a guest in someone's house today. Most of the time we're standing before the dinner table, not sure where we want to sit or we're going to be placed. Most of us would not take that place at the end of the table, the seat of honor, unless, of course, the host invites us to do so. This is a kind of common sense that would seem to be what Jesus is suggesting. But my friends, hold on, because it's more than that. Jesus criticized the guests for striving for status. Quote, when someone invites you to dinner, you take the place of honor. And when somebody more important than you shows up, you're all red-faced as you make your way to the last table and the only place left. You might as well go and sit at the last place in the first place. And then the host might say, come, sit with me. If you walk around with your nose up in the air, full of pride and all not humble, you are going to end up flat on your face. So the essence is be content to be yourself. Now today, to fast forward, we still live in a class society, don't we? The ethnic groups and immigrants and poor and the homeless, the addicted, the mentally ill, to go on, they face upward battles and challenges. Lower class and middle class, upper class, the haves and the have-nots. We all know the class in which we reside. When Jesus finishes insulting the guests, he begins to insult the host for who was included, who did not make the list. Listen to this, the quote-unquote. The next time you put on a dinner party, don't just invite your friends, family, and those you're trying to impress, the kind of people who will return the favor. Instead, invite people who don't have similar interests, who would never get invited out, the misfits from the wrong side of the track, the least of our sisters and brothers, the poorest of the poor. They won't be able to return the favor, but God will know. Now the disciples want to pull Jesus to the side because they're a little skewing on the side of what Jesus is doing. And they say to him, you know, you might want to back off a little. First you went after the seating protocol, and if that wasn't rude enough, now you're going to go after the guest list. Our host is an influential person, Judas, and Jesus. He can do good things for us. All you have to do is just act friendly and keep your elbows off the table. You won't have to have any more dinner invitations if you can't get through the appetizers without insulting and infuriating the person who invited us. Sounds familiar? I'm sure some of us probably just let things slide. just because, but Jesus is speaking truth to power to them here. So let me ask you some questions to ponder on this morning. Why does Jesus have to stir up trouble? Why does he criticize people who invite him into their homes? Why can't Jesus leave a pleasant enough dinner party while alone? Well, it is because Jesus understands what is at stake. And so we have to learn that at God's table, there is no need to jockey for position, because all are equally welcome, no exceptions. You're good enough, just as you are, just as you were born, without any status, without anything. I'm telling you this morning, all saints and guests, you are good enough. You are his beloved, you're made in his image, and you are loved unconditionally. Period. There are no throwaways when it comes to human beings. As Christians, believers are to honor the least among us, the poor and the marginalized. And therefore, whatever you see, despite what you see on TV or here, regardless of if you're on the other side of the border or on this side of the border, you are still equally loved. All welcome, period. And while the Pharisees were striving to move towards the head of a rectangular table, Jesus' table is a round table where no person is better than the other. Can I repeat that? No person is better than the other. The character of our guest list, who is on it and who is not on this list, has nothing to do with whether or not we are being Christ's church. The followers of Christ have to learn that any table, including the table that you'll be joined on this morning, any table where Jesus is present is a table where everyone is welcome. A foretaste for the heavenly banquet, a foreshadowing of the kingdom where God cares for all, and all we can do is give thanks for his grace and his mercy. So for the challenge for all of you today, when we do the post-communion prayer, we say, and now, Father, send us out to do the work that we are to do. And our work, our challenge, your challenge, is to go out there and invite the crippled, invite the marginalized, invite the lonely, invite anyone who's anyone, the other, maybe take them out for a cup of coffee and get to know them. Or maybe I'm going too far. Maybe it's right here in the church, there are some of us that we don't know. Some of us who we exclude from the table for whatever reason. Maybe today we can identify someone that we don't know your name or know who you are at God's table. And we can get to know the other.